What's up, y'all? So today, I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna propagate, propagate, propagate into the realm. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, today, let's just talk. I mean, we always talk about how the world changes so much, but really, let's just talk. How are you actually living in this new age? Are you understanding, overstanding that the foods you eat can coax your narrative just as much as the things you see, the things you watch, the things you hear? If there's so much coaxing going on, how are we supposed to know the truth? Well, that's for you to decide. That's for you to discern. That's for you to develop the capabilities to become a believer in yourself. I mean, we all know what it is at this point. We know that things have been pushed onto us for quite a while. Lies have been pushed onto us, not only from history, but from science, music, all kinds of things. It's put in our movies so that we can realize where we are without actually realizing where we are. You know, certain things stick out, of which a lot of people, because of the foods we eat and the fact that our mental capacities are coaxed by that to the point where we forget things so easily, little things stick out to me at this point, like the man who tried to blow up.
Investigators say Anthony Warner was killed in the RV blast near an AT&T building. 3 others hurt. The FBI now combing through the 63-year-old's credit card records, which appear to show purchases of security alarms and materials possibly used to make a homemade bomb.
We gloss over that as if he wasn't trying to do a They Live.
Let's go.
You and Holly clear?
I'm clear. Are you? Don't do it. Don't interfere. You can't win.
But yet people are like, oh, well, the news said that he was a crazed individual. He had a manifesto that doesn't make any sense. And, like, we should not push that man to the forefront of our thoughts. He almost took out our cell service. Do you ever stop and think about that? Or wonder why that is? Do you ever stop and think about why certain people whose manifestos are pushed in front of you so that you can read it, even though they push it in a way where they're crazy? Why all of them who do these extremes for you get labeled as crazy? They don't do it for us. They're crazy. All of them? Yes. Who would pick up arms against their fellow man? Are you sure everyone is on your side at this point? Like, just be realistic about this, okay? This system isn't for you. But it's your system. You gave it to us, so why would you say that about it? Because it's not serving a purpose. Humanity is at a precipice. You see? We're at a point where we can either be fruitful or become extinct. And at the rate of the going-ons of how we are going, we will be extinct within 130 some odd years.
Well, he's a medical doctor. If it says it's safe, it's safe.
Not if they stay here.
We're staying here.
Yes, we are. And we'll be dead in 5 years.
But people are still having babies. Oh, yeah, okay. So, what does that actually mean? Do you see where our society is at the present moment? Those babies, when they become adults, what life do they have? What lives do they have to look forward to?
After 8 years, British borders will remain closed. The deportation of illegal immigrants will continue. Good morning. Our lead story.
The world was stunned today. Baby Diego was stabbed outside a bar in Buenos Aires after refusing to sign an autograph.
He was killed in the ensuing brawl. The fan was later beaten to death by the angry crowd.
Diego Ricardo, the youngest person on the planet.
Going to school, doing the same thing that we did 20, 30 years ago, all of that's gone. That's changed. We're at a different point now. Now, I'm speaking 3D wise because you really aren't at the level to understand 4D, 5D, dimensional topics, really. Not just 4D and 5D, because everyone talks about that without really explaining what it is, but you're not doing that. See, I do this a lot because it's kind of like channeling. You pick up on little voices, and then it's just like, I'm going to just say those little voices out loud so that you, for those naysayers who are actually saying those things, because you're out there, and I can sense you, it's kind of like that, kind of like clairvoyance, omniscience, just pick it up from the ether. But yeah. I don't really go deep into topics. I don't talk about books. I don't just, I kind of gloss over a lot. And the real reason I do that is because you can do your own research. I listen to a lot of people, and certain videos, like someone I watched yesterday, they were trying to talk about physics and science and stuff like that, the new age approach to it. And some of the stuff I could mesh with, because, I actually read into this. I did my own research. And some of the stuff is just like, God. Oh my dear Jesus. Do you really know physics, or are you just regurgitating something you heard? It doesn't matter. The message is out there. Let's just go with it. So I just go with it. It's convoluted, but I can guarantee it's oh so orderly. Okay? It's all over the place, but it's orderly at the same time. Chaotic order. So I just go with it. But, yeah, I was watching someone talk about physics and astrology, of which if you look at the stars, the alignments of the planets, some people say that you're looking outward, but really you're just looking at yourself. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter if you're looking outward or looking inward or perceiving or believing or just knowing, or it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're doing something. You know? There it is again. You hear it? The distraction mechanism. As long as you're doing something, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but you need to do something. So when I say knowing or believing, like for me, I got to a point in my life, and I'm not speaking as Enlil or a higher being or any of that. I'm just speaking to you as a regular, normal individual who lives like everyone else. Read my lips. We're only human. Not really. Not really. But for me, I get to a point, or I have gotten to a point where I know all things. Because as long as you know, it will be. But I take in the foods that we are subjected to. I breathe in this nonsensical air that's laced because of certain things that certain clandestine organizations, which are you, but that's a digression, certain clandestine organizations put things in the air, and you take all that in, and it coaxes you to trying to be at a lower state, or the different personalities you deal with on a daily basis who also coax you into being at a lower state.
Are you gonna let her talk to you like that?
You will show the proper respect for a prince of Egypt.
And it's to the point where some days it's just like, I know. And then other days it's like, I'm so tired of this. Nobody's watching me. That vulnerability. You have to be able to know that even though you're at your vulnerable, even though you can sidestep yourself with negative talking points, you have to be able to completely know that that's just a programming. I'm not that person. I'm not negative towards myself. I really believe in all of the things that I've said because I've researched it, discerned it, all of that. So for me, if I even say those kinds of things aloud, in the back of my mind, or just a side thought in my head, or from the ether, or just me creating it, I know that if I say certain things, I can transcend that. So those negative thoughts, even though I may say them aloud, they're not real. It's just a part of the experience. My narrative, or excuse me, my thought patterns are being coaxed. That's a better word for it, not narrative, because I use narrative for a specific reason, and that is not one of those reasons. It's a thought pattern, really. And I transcend that thought pattern. It's like a dual nature. The vessel versus the higher self. Which one would you do? Because you have to interact in this system. You're interacting with yourself, you're interacting with the other vessels, self interacting, but you're interacting with the program itself, with the matrix, with the ethers, the energies, the currents. You're interacting with that. So you have to be at a point where even though you're interacting and you're participating in it, you have to be able to transcend it. So I may come off to certain people sometimes like, oh God, this is just, oh my God. But above it all, you see what I did there? Above it all? Above it all, I can switch characters very quickly. One minute you'll say, oh, I'm very mad. I cannot believe I'm listening to this. And the next minute, because of the dual nature of myself at this point, it don't bother me. All honesty, I'm okay. I'm not actually mad at you. What would I be? I'm alright. This is pretend, okay? I'm going with the narration. I'm going with the programming. I'm going with the matrix, the current, the flow, the ebbs and flows. I'm just doing this. But why? I mean, it's part of the journey. Why not interact with it? Because if you don't, it gets quite boring. Like, if you were your higher self all day, every day, which you can be, you can opt into that. You can opt into transcending this vessel format and do more while you're in the vessel, even though if you opt out of the vessel, you have to be very, very clear at your leveling. Because if you are not a ascended master, so to speak, you'll be recycled. Okay? We need a new tree, a new blade of grass, lava, a new person, an animal, an insect. Wherever you're needed, you will go. With you being in a kind of lock, subjected to this specific place, you're not going anywhere else but here. You have to be a real ascended master. You have to really know your stuff to be able to travel outside or within. So if you're not there, you'll be recycled, okay? It's a recycling. Where you're needed, you'll go. So with that, none of this stuff really bothers me. So looking outward towards the planets and their movements and the alignments and what point in the day or night cycle it is, it's like a cheat code. But how do you read it? What you mean, how do you read it? Explain it so that we can actually know, okay? Like a 3-year-old. Explain it like you're explaining it to a 3-year-old. But technically I am speaking to 3-year-olds if you want to be quite clear. Because if you don't know how to read yourself, how to discern yourself, it is not anyone else's job to tell you how to do it. That's like a one-up on you. Okay? So if you want someone to explain it to you, but why would you hide that information? I'm not hiding it. It's right there. Read. Discern. Giving you information, I gloss it over. It's just enough to pull you on in so that you can be you know what? He's onto something. He's talking about the history of the world. Something's not right with the history of the world. I believed it for a long time. Let me go look this up. He's talking about Saturn's hexagon. Well, you know, it is quite strange, and their explanation for what it is just doesn't pan out. Even though the beginning explanations, when they first started talking about it, they thought it was something massive there, not a storm. But you know, I'm gonna do more research into that too. What else? Well, alchemy, foods, and whatnot. What we're putting in our body, the nitrates from pork. What? It could turn you into a bomb. Well, let me look into that. It's just enough for you to do your own research. So, I mean, what are you doing? How are you living life? And yes, the hands, they were there. Oh, spirit fingers. Oh, he's manipulating us. Maybe a little bit. You never know. Don't do that. You know what happened to Jay. And that brings me to a final topic in this video. Your celebrities, I've already explained to you what they do, okay? Contracts, not real money, not real houses. They're given these things so that it can look good for a never-ending rotation for people to be like, I want that. Yes, come on. You want this? Are you sure? Sign your name there and there. Prick your finger and put that blood right there. Go ahead and put it in that chalice over there. Okay? I'll put mine in there. Okay, so I'm going to drink first, then you're going to drink. And you know what? We'll seal the deal. Put some baby oil on it. Fancy. But a lot of the masses don't see that as that. It's like, it's a conspiracy theory. It's not real. You can't prove any of this. There's so much it's like overwhelming evidence at this point that for you, like, you can't even say that it's not provable anymore because the evidence is just so overwhelming. Like, at this point, you're just playing fairy tale. Okay? Kids games. So, with that, like, what are we talking about when it comes to celebrities? It's not real. Not everyone has gotten to the point where they're masters in that field. You want to prop this up some more? It's prepared to collapse. Like, where are you now? So, when it comes down to it, when it gets down to the wire, you're a part of a big psyop. All of this stuff that they lie about, it's a psyop. The Mandela effects, psyop. How are they a psyop? Because you have certain images that are put out there. And then they retract those images, they retract those videos, you never see them again, and they put something else out. But from your memory, you remember it differently. And by the time that you've caught on, hey, something's not right. That used to be that. It's been completely put in a vault, completely wiped from your field of vision.
So glad such a big deal was made about this character, only to have him shot and killed as soon as we see him again.
So now you're stuck in this point of reference where we're in a different timeline. We're timeline shifting. No. It's a psyop. They're playing psychological games with you. You're linear thinkers, right? Think linearly. Instead of time jumping, multiverse theory. Prove the crystalline form theory that you're talking about. It's not really a hypothesis for me. It's not even a theory for me. It's law. It is ultimately the way this universe is created, what we're inside of, And the reason I know that just because I've seen it. In a vision? In a dream? I've physically been there. What? Yeah, I've physically been there on multiple occasions. Just like Saturn's hexagon, I've physically been there on multiple occasions. If you can transcend your vessel, meditate, get to a point where you can actually astro travel is what it's called. You can astro travel. Just do that. That's not real. Check out what the CIA has to say about that, and then you can come back to me and tell me otherwise, okay?
The young boy looks scared, but determined. The guard tests the restraints, then when satisfied nods at two men in black suits, standing by the entrance to this dimly lit concrete room. The men are smartly dressed and both wear dark sunglasses despite the low light. One of the men in black now looks at the scientists. Begin. The scientist at the rear of the machine furiously works the controls as the entire thing powers up with an audible hum of electricity. The boy's eyes widen in fear, but the second scientist leans down to reassure him. Just like we've discussed, concentrate on the target and the date, September 4th, 1976. See the man's face in your mind's eye. Focus on each line and the crease of his face. The boy shuts his eyes and nods. The hum of power in the room grows in volume, almost becoming unbearable. The boy grits his teeth and begins to yell when suddenly a bright flash of light and nothing. The boy is gone. A moment later, the boy returns, once more strapped to the chair. He's sweating profusely and panting as the scientists rush to let him out of his restraints. One of the men in black rushes to the boy and lifts his head up. "Did you see him? Did you see the target?" The boy, exhausted, nods his head. "And? What did you learn?" The boy barely manages to speak in a hoarse whisper, clearly on the verge of physical and mental collapse. "He was talking with a man. New submarine in construction. Called it Akuda." The boy faints. As the scientists call for a nurse and remove him from the chair, the two men in black meet together, speaking in low whispers. "Tell the president our operative successfully infiltrated Soviet time space. He failed to gather any useful intelligence, except confirmation of what our field operatives already told us. The Russians have built a new submarine, something big. We'll try again tomorrow, with the focus on gathering operational and technical details. Project Montauk is a success." Project Montauk, the infamous conspiracy theory that might have inspired Netflix's Stranger Things.
Right? Your own government has done research on this kind of thing, but yet you're still stuck in paying bills. You can transcend those bills, but yet you'd rather not, right? You'd rather pay bills? Yes? You know, make it make sense, friend. Make it make sense. But with that, why do you wear that hat? I love this hat. This is an amazing hat to me. I adore this hat. It reminds me of simpler times. What? My name was once Otto. Oh, God. I know where this is going. That's just the way it is, okay? You know? Thomas Cartwright, Otto, Bolin, let's see. Oh, Levi. Almost forgot about Levi. Like, the list continues to go on. What's Otto's last name? If I told you that, then I might get banned. So I'm not going to say that aloud. But just know, if you want any information about World War II and specific things that happened in World War II, yeah, you can ask about that. I can definitely tell you a couple things about that. Did he escape? Oh, no, he killed himself. Yeah, he literally killed himself. And I'm not talking about Otto.
Hören Sie gut zu, Wünsche. Ich werde mir nicht anders als Fräulein Brauner, meine Frau, selbst das Leben nicht darf dem Russen weder tot noch lebendig in die Hände fallen. Ich will sofort danach verbrannt werden und für immer unentdeckt sein. Wünsche, ich nehme Ihnen das Versprechen ab.
Mein Führer, das ist ein schrecklicher Befehl, aber ich will ihn ausführen.
There are so many other people who have done worse than they, but yet this person gets highlighted. Gee, I wonder why. Oh, God. Oh, dear. Here we go. You know, Candace Owens is doing a wonderful expose on an attack on a U.S. Naval vessel, and it's quite interesting. It's very, very interesting. You know, I will tell you that the more you know about your history, the less appealing that certain governments and certain people, leaders that we once held in high regards, they become less and less appealing. You know, once you get to a certain point, it's just like, oh, they did that, really? Oh God. And I thought they were great. No. Some of these people were not great people. It's just that your history is written in a manner so that they can be pushed into a high praise, a high regard, so that certain things can be legitimized. Here's one for the conspiracy theorists. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Wonder what happened there.
10 to 12 men, 3 teams, 3 shooters. The triangulation of 5 Clay Shaw and David Barry discussed 2 months before. They've calibrated their sights. They've practiced on moving targets. They're ready. They don't shoot him coming up Houston, which is the easiest shot for a single shooter in the book depository. They wait. They wait till he gets to the killing zone, waiting for the radio to say, green, green, or aboard, aboard. The first shot rings out. Sounding like a backfire, it misses the car completely. Frame 161, Kennedy stops waving as he hears something. The second shot hits Kennedy in the throat from the front. Frame 225, the president emerging from behind the road sign. You can see that he's obviously been hit, raising his arms. Conley, you will notice, shows no signs at all of being hit. He is visibly holding his Stetson, which is impossible if his wrist has been shattered. The fourth shot, it misses Kennedy and takes Conley in the back. This is the shot that proves there were 2 rifles. Conley yells out, "My God, they're going to kill us car breaks." The 6th and fatal shot, frame 313, takes Kennedy in the head from the front. This is the key shot, totally inconsistent with the shot from the depository. Again, back to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
What makes you go back and to the left instead of forward and slumped over? Forward, 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 back and to the left. The darndest thing. So, with that being said, this video is getting a little too long, a little bit longer than I would like. So with that, I will leave you with this. Don't let anyone tell you differently than what you already know, especially if you're on this journey, because this is a very specific journey. So you have to be able to know, discern, believe, achieve, all that stuff. You have to be. I am. So with that, who are you? What are you? Where are you? Now, with a smile on and positive vibes your way. For the light workers, keep doing your thing. For the chosen, stay on mission. And for those who know, let's get it.